Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bent Not Broken, where we speak with regular folks like you and I who have mustered up the courage to accept the things that has happened in their lives so that they can no longer hold them prisoner and to stand tall in their truth. Today we'll be speaking with Nancy Mitchell. She will be detailing some of the things that has befell her in life, which under normal circumstances should have left her broken, but they didn't. So Nancy, welcome and thank you for taking this opportunity, to share your truth with us.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So let's jump right into it. So tell us, who is Nancy Mitchell now, and were you always this person?
No, definitely not. Right now I'm a loan officer. I'm a real estate agent. I'm an entrepreneur and I do like loans, I do commercial, I do residential loan, and I'm making my way there. But I've never always been this person. I think growing up in a big family, it was like a huge family. I was 20, 20, 24, 24 brothers and sisters all
Wow.
together. We have 18 for my mom and dad had 6 outside. So
Mm,
it was a crazy, crazy growing up. And
just imagine.
I know. And I was the wash belly from my mom. So I was the 18th one.
Mm,
So I think there's a lot of pressure on me. Because all of the sisters and brothers always think that, oh my God, she get things easy. And I always think the other way around. But really, I think one of my main thing that happened that brought me to a point that, I was like, why me?
right,
That's that I said to myself, because I grew up in a strong home.
right.
My father was a businessman. He was well known downtown Kingston. We grew up as strong individual. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to, you
Right.
just, when trouble hits you, you're supposed to just say, okay, let me brush it off, and that's it. So I grew up, and coming to the States, it was like a fresh start for me. Didn't work out for my son's father, and I just said I needed something fresh, something
Right.
new. So when I came here and everything, strong individual, you're like, okay, I'm gonna conquer the US. I'm gonna make and start working and going through all of that. Met with somebody, and it was a good relationship in the sense that we know each other as just friends,
Right.
before. And I think that led me to say that, okay, we're friends. This is a good candidate for me to, try stuff. We
Try
get
something
married.
with. Right.
But, it turned out that it became into like abuse, like physical and verbal abuse, in the sense that verbal abuse more for me,
Hmm.
because I guess we female from Jamaica don't realize that, okay, there is something called verbal abuse.
Right.
I never know of it at that time. After passing through it and everything, I realized that
Right.
times you will say you want to do this, you come up with some ideas and you want to do this, and they, that ideas are shut down,
Shut down. Right.
and all of this is abuse,
Yeah.
because you can't really get to live who you are.
Right. But
So
I think for us Jamaicans, when we think of abuse, we think of just physical, not
exactly.
realizing that there are other facets to abuse. And like you say, verbal is one.
Exactly. So I dealt with it, and it was like, I think my point when it got physical, it was very strangely, it was, I had to call the cops, and the cops came, and it was, when you're in that kind of situation, you're not really thinking of, what's around and everything. But when I was presented with this white cop, not to say anything bad about anybody
Right.
white or anything, but for us Jamaican
Yeah.
Black people, always feel a little bit more comfortable with our people, you know. So, you know, this white cop came in and everything, and he talked to me and talked to him and everything was like done and said. And when he put me outside, and he really said something to me like, listen, I have been, because he was an older guy, he was like, I've been in this business for, I've been a cop for like, I don't know, over 40 years. It was a long time. And he was like, I can tell you right now, as I stand here, it will never get better.
Okay.
And he just talked to me as if he was talking to his sister or his daughter. It was just so touching.
Right.
And, you know, right then and there, he was like, listen, you go down to Morristown, go file a restraining order to get that done ASAP. And he was just telling me exactly what to do. And just by talking to him, like somebody is not with us, and he was right, you know, pushing everything that I wanted to hear at the time. And I was so appreciative. You know, I just did exactly what he told me to do.
Okay,
I left
so you follow these instructions.
exactly that day. I just went down, I did file everything, and that was it. That was the end. I couldn't do it, you know, and he gave me the strength, he gave me the encouragement. He is what I needed at that
At
time.
that time, right.
And I didn't, it's like God sent angels, right? And so many, you know, people, and I'm just looking at him like, oh my God, I wasn't thinking of him as being a help, but he, to this day, I would thank him for what he did,
Right.
because my life then. And I think, you know, that was I think the worst time I can think of, that I was like, I'm so strong. I
But
don't think
in that moment you didn't really feel strong, right?
exactly. So it was like, can
So
you really go?
you got to a place of being vulnerable and you never really knew how to kind of maneuver, you know, that space, because that's not your go-to. Your go-to thing is, like you said, to be strong. That's what you were taught.
Exactly. So it was, yeah, it was a
So what
really,
was next for you then, though? Because all right, he told you to do the restraining order. You said you did exactly as you were told. So what was next for you?
I start just doing me. I start just doing stuff, start concentrating on what I like, what I wanted to do. And I just moved on by, you know, start working. And I was working, but I took on another job so I could take
Okay,
care of, you know, the expenses.
right.
And I just started to do everything by myself. And I just never looked back after that. I was just like concentrating on me and my son,
Right.
you know. Um,
Were
and
you
that is
ever
another.
bothered by the other party? Like, you know, did he ever try to, despite the fact that you had a restraining order against him, did he ever try to, you know, to violate that or to reach out to you in any way? No.
uh, it was once, but well, twice, because he came back to the house and I had to call the cops to, you know, and the cops like explained to him the situation, how that works. You cannot be in at the time was on a call or something like that, but that was it, you
Okay.
know. So I was like, okay, that was almost like done. That's it.
Right. And I know you said this was your son's father. So how
No,
did
this is
that, it's not
father.
your son's father.
I left
Okay.
my
Sorry.
father
And
on
then you
Steve.
got it.
Yeah,
Got
and then
it.
I
Got it.
called, you know, somebody else. So yeah.
So, what has life been like since then, you know, in terms of like relationships, you know, is it something that you're still open to, or have you been scarred by everything that took place in that relationship, you know, the abuse?
Well, I think I've scarred for a bit.
Okay.
Um, I will put myself as a very, you know, I think I have a little bit more, you know, strength, I would say. And I think it took me like maybe about 2 years or 3 years or so. I don't remember the exact date, but then I, yes, tried dated again. That didn't work out. And, you know, I'm like, okay. And that from that time, I'm like, okay, that's it. So I am
So, are
still,
you saying to me, Nancy, from that time till now, you have opted to remain single and out of a relationship?
Yeah, well, I did have a relationship after, which didn't work out. And
Mhm.
that relationship, then yes, which has been,
Okay.
I'll say about 5 years, 4 to 5 years, thereabout.
Okay. So
Um,
is it that you are seeing similarities, in that
no,
situation while you
no,
left?
looking for it because when you kind of start looking for the red flags and you look
Right,
for that might pop up.
right.
But this individual didn't see that in them at all. I think it was just much of just cheating. And, as soon as I know of cheating, I was like, okay, bye. I'm not going to settle for that. I definitely deserve better. I'm just not going to do it. So I think that was more of his cheating ways and stuff like that I just call it a day.
Right.
And I'm busy with my own work and just not that I don't want a mate. Uh, God created man and woman, so I always
Right.
in the white picket fence, and you need to have a spouse, somebody to live your life with. So I always believe in that, and I definitely still want that. So if God send me somebody today, I'll get married today. Not a problem.
All right. So I know you have a non-profit that you do work with women, who
Yeah.
have been victim to domestic abuse and all that. So tell us some more about that.
Well, this nonprofit is something that it's kind of dear to my heart. I mean, we're gonna have a different conversation to came up, how that came into play, but I, it was stemming from my family, and I actually start to see my friends and other family members here in the States start going through it.
Okay.
And one particular family member went into the system and almost like she went to the shelter, like trying to get away from, you know,
Right.
her boyfriend, and went in the system and almost got raped at the shelter. And I like, this is crazy.
Right.
Uh they're leaving one place to go to a safe haven, to go to somewhere safe,
Mm-hmm.
and they're faced with that again, or similar, thing, like another trauma. And I'm like,
Right.
this. So I said, why not try to put something in place? I mean, I don't have a shelter yet, but I'm definitely looking to get one done in
Okay.
another few. But right now, I give help back to females that's gone through that situation, come out of
Okay.
the situation, not too sure what to do. Um, I will give them guidance on to how to, what exactly you want to do with your life.
Okay.
What is it that you see yourself doing, and get them to start either going back to school, start doing a work within that career that they want to do, or just to get them making that next step, from being independent, on their spouse, into just being independent for themselves and
Right.
moving forward. So that's something that I really, push a lot of females that come from that. And then a lot of them is not they're in the situation, but you can't, you can't help them
Yeah.
because females know that's in the situation that they're not ready to be helped. Does that make sense? And
Oh
if
yeah.
they're not, no matter what I do, no matter how I push it, you have to wait until their cup is
They're ready.
overflowing,
Yeah.
and then I can come in and scoop them up and say, okay, this is a situation, go to this place, do that, and go from there. So it's kind of harder when they're in the situation and not ready to move.
That's true. So if there is anyone watching this interview now, what words would you want to leave with them? What words of encouragement that, you'd want to give them, if it is that they're in situations similar to yours where abuse is present,
Right.
what would you tell them?
The first thing I would say to them is, you have to start looking at yourself. You have to start looking at yourself, your mental health. What is it that
Yep.
you want? Because that is one of that is one of the things that helped me start open my eyes and say, hey, this what is it that I want? Is this what I want? No, it's not what I want at all. So you got to start looking at yourself. What is it that you want for yourself? And start seeing, is the path that I'm going through right now, is that going to take me to my goals? And if it's not, then you got to change something.
True.
Because if you don't change, then it will never change. So start looking at yourself first.
All facts. All right. So if there is anyone who probably would need assistance from, your nonprofit that you run, how can they reach out?
Well, the company name is the WEW, which represent Women Empowering Women. So it's the WEW of New Jersey Corporation. And they can either contact me. They'll see on the site that we have my email, my phone number. They can go through and do that for the WEW of New Jersey at gmail.com. That's the email. Phone number 856-366-0429. That's 856-366-0429. And no matter what is it that they need, if I don't have it, there's a lot of different companies that I work along with that can offer different, different stuff that they want to do in life, whether it be career or needed to get a job, or just to try to empower them in making them out of that situation into, something positive for them to move forward.
Right. Do you think that having started this nonprofit, that it actually helped you on your healing journey and, to overcome some of the trauma attached to the abusive relationship?
Yes. And I think mainly that helped me mentally, because I would say 2 years ago, I kind of had a, went down into depression, had a kind of meltdown. I don't know what happened, but it just, sometimes you just get stressed with everyday life.
Right.
At a point, like you just, get to a point where you just get stressed. And again, I think I'm too strong, for me to look at somebody and pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Mary, I feel stressed.
Yeah.
I'm sitting crying and I don't know, I don't want to feel embarrassed." So to be honest with you, I really didn't even pick up the phone and call a friend. I really didn't. And that is something that I try to push as well with a
Right.
nonprofit, and try to tell people that, listen, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what background you come from. I don't care where everybody need mental health. It's like air. But
It sure is.
coming from Jamaica, again, that's not what I'm taught.
That's true.
You trouble, you got to deal with it yourself. But no, it's time is different. Even with my, like my son, I realized that this like, you can't just say I'm fine. You got to get help. Talk to people. If you see that you're down, you're either crying, not crying, but you feel like you're not moving forward to your goals, and you're sitting either doing nothing, watching the TV, wasting time for months and months, something is
Right.
wrong. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. You got to get up and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody.
Right.
Talk to somebody. And then at that point, when you have to realize it first, because a lot of people is not realizing it. So you realize that this is a problem. What have I improved myself within the past, 6 months, or a few months? And if you haven't have anything to show of your improvement, then you're basically wasting time.
True.
So I would say definitely just think about that.
So having gone on this journey, and with, you keep emphasizing the fact that, you were taught to be strong. Has it
Yes.
become easier for you to now ask for help?
A little bit. It has become a bit easier for me, to be honest. Not 100%. It's easier said than done. It's like, no, I would, right now, I just spoke with a friend like a few weeks ago, and I was, saying to her, hey, we need to, have another group where, it's just for like entrepreneurs, like people who is just gonna, if you want to do business, or you want to create a business, or to start a business, yeah, I need to have a group on that.
Okay.
So females can come together and help each other out. Because if you have 5 females and they all want to do business, can be different business, but they all create a LLC, right?
Right.
get together and say, hey, this is a process. This is what we do. And they all start, creating their business, or start to create the LLC to start their business. So it's like, yeah, we need to get a group into getting that done, and then get another group in getting something else done. And when you look, you will have different group of people who you can start channel your stress. If you're stressed in one area, let
So
me go talk
you'll know
to you.
which support group to filter what
Exactly.
problem to.
So that I have, I would say 2 person right now, but I need more, because there's other areas sometimes that I lacking, or something happened. I'm like, okay, I get up this morning and I don't feel like working. You need that person that's gonna call you, gonna shake you up and say, hey, what is it you were supposed to get done today? And when you finish talking to them, you're like, okay, let's go.
So
You know,
you need an accountability partner.
yes, we all do need that.
So how difficult was it for you to actually come and do this interview and share that section of your life, which speaks to, probably a weak moment, a moment that you weren't, the strong soldier that you want to be?
Well, it takes a lot, because for one, I don't think anybody really know what I've been through.
Okay,
You know, no, I don't think I tell a few people, but like, people who know me don't know that I've been through this.
right,
And it's like, okay, people might see this and people might start thinking, oh, whoa, did she go through that? Did that happen to her? Did you start thinking, should I do this? Should I
right,
not? I and I look at other females that I have watched, and I've seen them do interviews and talk about their experiences, and that kind of give me power.
right,
So is it, if I can give somebody power to make a change and do something, I
right.
think, for me, I will just feel filled.
Yeah,
Look at Rihanna. Look at Rihanna. She's so powerful, and just to see she's been through that. I'm like,
right.
so you're not thinking that somebody left that magnitude can really go through something like that. It can be anybody.
Anybody, right? And I think that's the thing we need to recognize that, I think in the moment, like you said earlier, you think, why me? Not realizing that, it's not unique to you. It's
Does
something that happens globally.
doesn't matter.
So, I am happy that you finally got to the place where you are comfortable enough to, share with others, and I guess to encourage somebody else on their journey. So, as we wrap up, what would you say to our viewers? What words would you want to leave with them?
Um, I will say, just start now. Speak up, start now, because we all have doubts. I don't care again where you are, where you're from. We all, as human being, are gonna have doubts in doing anything. It can be going to school, can be, starting your career, starting a business, going
Right,
to work. Matter. We all have doubts. And I will definitely say to the viewers, just look in yourself and decide on what makes me happy. And a lot of people that, ladies that I talk to, they may say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what kind of business to start. But you got to go back to your roots and see, what is it that made you happy as a little
yeah,
girl? Happy. And whatever that thing is, whether it be cooking, baking, sewing, putting on dresses, getting dressed up, you got to think what makes you happy and start going after that. Start
right,
making the step, making the first phone call to say, okay, can I call a company to see if I can start a site, if I can, get an LLC, started, call an accountant, get that done within one day, which is possible. Just start speaking up to whatever is it that you want. So I will definitely leave them with that. You have to do that. If you don't, you're going to be stagnant. You're going to be staying there for years and years. And when you look at yourself within 5 years, you're at the same position again. So I will just say, try to wake up your senses, feel whatever makes you happy, and start doing it.
Yeah. And specifically now, for anyone watching who is currently in any kind of abusive relationship, what word would you leave with them?
I will say seek help. I know it's hard. It's going to be hard for them to seek help, because when you're in the situation, you don't want anybody to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? You again, you feel embarrassed, and you're like, why me? And they're not going to want to tell anybody, but you have to kind of remember that if you don't speak up, if you don't say something, if you don't talk to somebody, do something, tomorrow morning you can end up be dead.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? And if you have kids, is that what you want for your kids? You're going to leave your kids to this person that has been abusing you? Is that what you want for your kids? You got to kind of think about, okay, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, what is going to happen? What is the consequences? So with somebody in that situation, you gotta ask yourself, what are the consequences if I don't speak up? What if the consequences if I don't get help? What are those consequences? And you got to just make the first step. If it's even to make a phone call to me, make a phone call. I am thinking about this. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Just make one phone call. Just make a phone call, to somebody that you trust.
Right.
Have somebody that you trust. Don't call, the abuser's family or mom or dad or whatever. Got to be somebody outside the unit, somebody who you trust. Somebody's going to be from, a company, nonprofit. You got to be somebody else, but you got to speak up. This is the first thing you got to do, to take action and not sit in it, because you can get up tomorrow morning and you're dead. So
totally agree.
I'll definitely leave that with them.
Totally agree. Right, Nancy, I want to say a big thank you for coming out and sharing your truth and standing tall in it and having your vulnerable moment, your moment when you're not strong.
I know.
So thank you for coming on. Thank you for using your story to encourage others on their journey. There are so many persons that, we don't even know what's going on with them, but hopefully your story will encourage somebody else on their journey to overcoming. So thank you very much for being here with us today.
You're welcome. You're most welcome. And thank you for having me on your platform. It's on.
No problem. So my Stacey Speaks tribe, there you have it. That was Nancy sharing her story with us on overcoming an abusive relationship. And like we always say, we have everything that we need within us to thrive and survive. God has already given that to us, so we just need to tap in. So until next time, take care.